being the wife of an entrepreneur is its own journey.
Yeah.
I had to grow spiritually and emotionally. I had to learn how to communicate without matching energy. I came in believing that, girl, you got to be superwoman. You have got to make sure that your house is in order. You have got to make sure that this business stays, on top at all times. Whatever you have to do to make it happen, make it happen. And that was a belief that I had. But I came to the realization really quick that I needed help.
Welcome to another episode of Real Talks with an Entrepreneur's Wife's podcast, where we help women that are in or have ever been in a relationship with an entrepreneur feel seen, heard, and understood by sharing our true and honest stories so that something that we say she might hear that might help her on her journey, wherever that might be. I'm Janell, your friend, your sister, and the host of this podcast, and I'm on this journey with you. And today, I have a wonderful guest. She too is on this journey of being in a relationship with an entrepreneur. She's a wife, she's a mom, a business leader, and a coach. Nina Keith is the wife and a mother of four who helps lead her family's HVAC company while also managing multiple community-focused ventures, including a youth wrestling club. With a strong foundation in faith and resilience, she shares her journey of balancing business and marriage while encouraging others to focus on their strengths, embrace change, and grow through challenges. Nina, welcome to the conversations today. How are you doing?
Hey, I am doing very well, very well. Very honored to be here today.
I am extremely honored to have you. Thank you for answering the call because were indeed one of the top people I wanted to have on the podcast. I've known your husband for quite some time in the HVAC industry.
Yes.
He was one of the first people to serve our home while he was working for another company. And I remember my husband being so impressed with him and encouraging him and saying, man, you need to get your own business. And so it's very exciting to see that he has done just that. But you guys, you have been together for a very long time, married for 26 years, right? Now, did you guys come from an entrepreneur background?
Janelle, no, actually, we are the generation starters. So we are the ones that have kind of started everything in our families. We don't come from an entrepreneurial background. Our parents were great. They did the best that they could, but they didn't know anything about entrepreneurship. But yes, me and my husband, we are the trailblazers of that.
Wow, that's awesome. So, of course, you didn't start out as entrepreneurs out of high school. So what did you do prior to getting into business?
So before we decided to start our own business, I was in banking, and my husband was actually in HVAC. Now, before that, we out and in jobs, out of high school, you're going into the food service and all of the things. But we decided that we definitely wanted something more for us, for our family that we were building. And we decided that I was going to go to school for business and he would go for HVAC and we would own business. Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
who prompted the idea first about going into business?
Of course, my husband
Okay.
was the visionary behind it all. I am the one that executes, that vision for him, for us. He came and he said, I think that go for business. I go for the HVAC, and then we start our own business. And so I'm like, I think it could be a good idea, honey. So that's what we did. We did it. I mean, it was tough at times. It was hard because we did have small children at the time.
Okay.
And I was working also at the time and going to school. And so it did get kind of rough. It was just after a while, he saw that it was taking a toll on me. So he was like, listen, you're going to have to stop working and you're going to have to focus on school so that we can go ahead. We got to look towards the future. So
Wow.
again, he's the visionary, and I try to follow that vision as much as I can. It gets tough now. It
Yeah.
gets tough. But yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I do have a question because,
Yes.
you say he's the visionary and we all have ideas. We all have visions and goals. But in the visions that he had, was he writing it down and making it plain like the Bible tells us?
So girl, let me tell you, he's a visionary. Now he'll bring it out of here. I'm the one that's going to write it down. Okay. So whenever he's thinking it out loud, I'm like, okay, let me write that down. Let me, put that on paper. So he's all listen, I got this idea. I have this idea. Let's do this. And so I'm writing it down as we go. Then we'll just make it happen.
Now, Nina, for you, you said you were in banking
Yes.
and he suggested that you go to college for business. With that, before he mentioned you going to college for business, did you have any other ideas of what you would want your life and career path to look like?
So I knew to do something that would be effective. I knew that I wanted to encourage. I knew that I wanted to service people. And I knew that I wanted to be different than what I grew up with.
Mm.
So in my younger years, I would always encourage others, to do different things, whether it be relationship or, family or just whatever it would be. I just always felt the need to build up. And so I just always had the need to serve others. And that's actually my love language, acts of service.
Yes.
So I just, that's just serving the people. I mean, and that was a way to actually do that. So I wasn't
Okay.
used to that. I was definitely looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's good. So you are wearing many hats right now.
Yes.
You're a mother of four, you're a grandmother, you're helping your husband with the business. What does a typical day in the world of Nina Keith look like wearing all these hats?
So typical day. I'm a wife. I am, of course, a business owner. I'm a mom. I am a woman of faith. So my day typically starts off with prayer. I get up in between 5 and 5:30. I come and pray before anything starts happening, before anybody gets up. I'm in my own little world, just me and God. And I'm praying, I'm worshiping, I'm reading, I'm studying. And my children, I have a son that's in ninth grade. So once he's up, things are rolling. We got to get him out of
For sure.
and my husband, we have to get him up, get him out of the door and rolling. And then as the day goes on, I'm in my entrepreneur hat. I wear that hat from 8 to 5, sometimes longer than that. And my mom hat is always on because you never know what's
That's
going
right.
to happen during the day.
That's right.
And the thing about the entrepreneur hat and the wife hat, you have to sometimes take one off and put one on. You have to take it off, put one on, because it's a little different. Entrepreneurship, you are partners just like you are in marriage. However, there are some things that he's stronger at in business that I'm not. And there's some things where I'm stronger in business and
Right.
he's not. And so we just had to learn to like pivot. Um, we realized that if we wanted longevity, like we needed to have structure and clarity. And so it's kind of the same in marriage, but being a wife is a little bit different than being partners in business. Just a little
Mm.
bit. Yeah, you have to put that submit hat on. You have to be that gentle and quiet, spirited wife, and that doesn't mean okay, be quiet. It just means that you have to hear his voice as the husband, as the head, and as the entrepreneur. You are partners, so it gets a little different, and we had to learn that it wasn't always that way. It wasn't always that way. We had to learn how to make this thing work as a team, just like we do in marriage, but it's just a little bit different. So during the day, I have to sometimes take my entrepreneur hat off, put on my wife hat, especially when those times, he's out in the world all day,
Yeah.
and the world is not, it's not there to protect him. It's not there to, build him up. So if he calls and he's upset, or if he calls and he needs my help, sometimes I have to put my wife hat on and take my entrepreneur hat off, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm all of those things during the day. And I'm constantly switching on and off and on and off. And I'm like, so this is why I start my day in prayer and with
Yeah.
God, so that he can equip me for the day.
So, with that being said, Nina, you did say it hasn't always been this way. You went to school and you got the business degree, so you're very knowledgeable from that experience. He is very strong and knowledgeable from a business aspect, but also as the one doing the work, the
Yes.
technician and things of that nature. What was that turning point for you, or what did the season look like that made you say to yourself, okay, I need to do this different? I've got to be able to separate the two and realize, okay, I'm still a wife,
Right.
I'm not just a business partner, I'm a wife. So what was that season like that helped you to flip that?
Well, I'll be honest, being the wife of an entrepreneur is its own journey.
Yeah.
I had to grow spiritually and emotionally. I had to learn how to communicate without matching energy. I had to honor my husband's leadership while still honoring my own voice. And I had to stay grounded in faith when everything around us felt uncertain. Like, um, I kind of grounded myself in faith, just knowing that in the end that God was going to work everything together for us. But we still had to learn how to communicate with each other
Yeah.
effectively. And there was a time where we had a little bit of financial difficulty, where we had so many employees, and it just started to really put a strain on our business, put a strain on our marriage and our communication. And we had to really take a step back, um, and just kind of put everything out in front of us. And we
Yeah.
had to seek God and his guidance with how to rebuild and defining our roles and planning for our legacy
Right.
and confronting each other through tough times, like around finances and leadership and the dynamics and all of the things. And it took humility and prayer and a lot of open communication, Janelle, honestly. And that's how we got through. That's how we pivoted.
Yeah. I like what you just said. It made me think about my husband has a
Uh-huh.
moving company
Mhm.
and I still work full time. And periodically he'll say, Janelle, you need to quit your job and come work with me.
Mhm.
He says that because, of course, he sees the value. He
Yes.
sees the value in me helping him out. And
Yes.
I recognize that value as well. However, however,
However,
I don't know, and I'm working on this, but I don't know that from a communication standpoint, that I am to the point yet that I can work full time with my husband.
right.
And so I'm glad that I recognize that. And it is something that I'm working on to improve my communication because I wouldn't want to quit my job where
Yes.
it's definitely helping to keep us afloat and then jump into business and then we're bumping heads like real hard.
Hmm.
So for me, I'm so glad you said what you said because a lot of people need to hear that. You don't
Yes.
just jump in not realizing, not understanding your strengths and how you communicate with your partner,
Right.
especially when you're having to wear so many hats.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And I will say, Janelle, that that decision was not as easy as I said it. So when he prompted me to come off of my job, it took a minute. it took me a few months, and I'm gonna say about 6 months or so. He just kept saying, "Hey, hey, hey, I need you. Like, I need you to come in. I need you." And me, I think it was just a bunch of fear, the fear of what if we don't make ends meet? Or, like
Yes.
you said, the communication. What if we continue to bump heads? What if this thing doesn't work out?
Yeah.
So it wasn't as easy as I made it sound. So it took me a little bit, and I really had to like really really dive into my faith, and I had to trust him. I asked myself one day, has this man ever not been able to provide for your family? Has
Oof.
he ever disappointed you in
Mm.
being the provider, the protector, the leader of your home? And
Mm.
all those answers were no.
Yes.
And so I had to just really put my trust in God, in Him, and just kind of move forward in my faith. And when I did that, Janelle, our income actually doubled that year from me working
Wow.
and him being in business by himself. Yes. So I thank God every day that I did make the decision to move forward in faith, because I mean, God is going to do his thing regardless if we work that faith. He's going to do it.
Speaking of that, you said you asked yourself, was it him asking you, or was it the spirit downloading these questions to help you feel comfortable with easing into that position?
I definitely believe that it was the spirit doing that. Because he wasn't pushing me. He was like telling me, listen, babe, like I really need you. So that would be the conversation. Like, come on, it's okay. Like, come in. He's reassuring me that it's gonna be okay. But it really was the spirit that just kind of came to me and was like, are you gonna trust him? You gonna trust us? Are you gonna trust us? I mean, like, I've never let you down before. So trust us. And you're here 10 years later,
10
to
years. I was just about to ask you that.
yeah, yeah.
How long have you, and I know that he's been in business, or you guys have had the business for about that time, but about how long have you been in the business full time?
8 years.
Okay.
I
Okay.
have been in 8 years. Yes, ma'am. In the beginning, I would still help him, but I just wasn't into it where I could like really be into it. So I would still do invoices. I would still, I couldn't take the calls because I was at work, but I would still invoice and do some paperwork for him here and there to kind of keep things straight. But when I came in full force, everything just kind of turned around for the better. Yeah.
I
And then
love
we
it.
had those moments too where it was rough. We had rough seasons as well, and I tell anybody that wants to be in entrepreneurship that it's not for the faint. There are listen, it's good, and there are times where it's not so good. But if you continue on with your vision, I think that God has a way of showing up and help
Hmm.
through those moments, those tough and challenging moments.
Yes. And I think for you guys, one of the main things that I recognize and I feel strongly about that he's definitely taking care of you all because of your heart.
Mhm.
You guys are definitely, you have a heart for family, you have
Yes,
a heart for community, you have a heart for building people, you have a heart for business, and all of those are things of God. And
yes,
so I don't know exactly how well you guys are doing in business, but no matter how big you are right now, I don't see you guys flashing. You're not flashing the materialistic things. You guys are always promoting faith, family, business, community. And so, keeping those things in the forefront, the Lord is always going to take care of you.
yes,
He's always going to take care of you when you're grounded in him.
yes, ma'am.
So, another thing I heard you say is that there was a time when you guys had too many employees. So you had to kind of take a look at that and reevaluate things. What did that time look like for you?
Oh yeah, we definitely had to scale back. Um, it was it happened very fast. We were growing at a pace that we just really didn't see coming. And we
Blessings overflow.
yes, 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 yes. And we were thankful, we were grateful. But there came a time where um we really just needed, when you're entrepreneurs, you need mentorship as well,
I was
right?
going to ask you about that.
Yes.
Tell me more.
In the beginning, we didn't have the mentorship. We came in this thing and we kind of all both of us had on like a lot of hats. So we came in full force. We were so gung ho. We just like so many other couples do, we do everything at once and trying to make sense of it all, and the calls and the invoicing and the financial design, managing the business and working in the business. And we found out the hard way that in order to manage the business effectively,
Yeah.
working in the business sometimes can affect that. So
Hmm.
we need people, we need a team to help us. But that team grew so fast that it kind of put a financial strain on us because, with employees, it's a whole different ball game. You have to manage their time and make sure that they're doing things effectively. And a lot of the things, I think because of our heart posture, kind of got in the way. And so we had to, like I said, learn to separate the two, the business from the personal, from the heart. We went into prayer, we went into just kind of resetting the whole thing, and just pivoted from there. And now we are definitely running a whole lot smoother. He is in the truck, he is out in the field, but he also has that managing hat on. And I think he's learned how to balance the two.
Yeah.
Um, and it has become so much of a blessing for our business. So much of a blessing.
Now, with family, because you have adult kids and then you have a younger one, you're wearing so many hats. So, how are you incorporating the kids to help with balancing that?
So sometimes it's hard to because my older two, I have one that lives in Georgia, and
Mm,
so she's not here with us to be able to help. I had her doing some behind the scenes stuff for us while she's there, but I also have my second daughter. She works all day long, and she is hardly ever able to help us in the
mm.
business. She has before. My younger daughter, she's like, "Mom, I cannot sit at a desk. I listen, I don't want to file. I don't so they are more hands-on people. So they haven't really come into the business a whole lot. They've done different things for us and we definitely
Okay.
appreciate that. My son has stepped in with my husband over the summer. He's the youngest. And of course he wants to be just like his dad. So he comes in and sometimes he helps during the summer on some of the calls and he's enjoyed doing that. So,
That's
but
awesome.
not a lot, not a lot. They kind of have their own thing going on and we're here to support them with that. So,
Okay. So, what were some of the beliefs that you had or the pressures that you had before that made you feel like you had to wear all of the hats?
so I came in believing that, girl, you got to be superwoman. You have got to make sure that your house is in order. You have got to make sure that this business stays, on top at all times. Listen, whatever you have to do to make it happen, make it happen. And that was a belief that I had. But I came to the realization really quick that I needed help, right? I needed to separate um, all of these hats that I had to put on. And I had to sometimes take the emotional out of it and be that strong businesswoman that I needed to be. And then I had to come over here and be the wife, the nurturer
Hmm.
for my kids. I had to be the wife, the submitting wife. And Janelle, this was hard. It was hard for me because I'm such a strong good woman. Um I am so my husband's a leader and I am a leader. So
Yes.
sometimes it kind of clashes.
Yep.
And so I had to learn how to separate the two. And I talk about this a lot. And it was hard. It became hard, but a lot of self-awareness and focusing on the roles by themselves, the wife. What does being a wife consist of? And not just a wife, but a godly, uh,
Mm-hmm.
a good wife. Um, a wife that my husband would be happy to say, this is my wife, right? And then the business, the entrepreneur, I wanted to be a boss. I wanted to be a strong entrepreneur who knew what she wanted in business, to know how to run the business, how to manage, the business. And then the mom, you have to come over here and be nurturing and all
Yeah.
of the things. Like you have to go to wrestling practice, you have to go to cheer practice, and you have to go
Right.
to the meetings and all of the conferences. And so I just had to learn how to separate all of them. And now I'm at a place in my life where I think I have mastered it enough to be effective in all of those areas.
So, Nina, for you recognizing those things,
Mhm.
was it through coaching? Was it through prayer? Like, how did you come to thinking about all the different roles, the vision and the plans where you have for your marriage? How did you get there? Like, if there's a woman that is listening, what would you say would be the first step for her to get to that realization?
I would say the first step would be self-awareness. Um, I had to really dive deep into me. I had to get to know me a little bit more,
Mm.
to know and realize that I have grown. I'm not the same. So certain things that maybe I used to do, I don't like doing anymore, or just the growth in me and being able to recognize also my faults. Um,
Yeah.
so you have to look at self first. And then I would say it wasn't the good times that actually taught me. It was the times that was rough.
For sure.
It was the times where we had communication issues in our marriage because of business. We brought the business into our marriage. And it was those times that taught me to say, hold on, let's pause. We got to wait a minute, and we need to reset. We have to do some things differently. And it just taught me how to really do things differently, decent and in order.
So we've made it to this point in the episode, and you're still here with us. I truly believe that something was said in this conversation that spoke to you. And because of that, I encourage you to take a few moments to journal about what resonated in your mind and in your heart. Journaling can be such a powerful form of self care and clarity. And I would love to help you with that. Simply send me an email to realtalkswithjanelle@gmail.com and I'll send a journal prompt directly to your inbox. Now, let's get back to the conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I think about things from my own personal experience, I think about when I first got married, I aspired to be that virtuous Proverbs 31 woman.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't something that my husband was
Mhm.
assigning or saying, this is what I want from a wife. This was all stuff that I was saying for myself. I want to do this. I want to be that virtuous Proverbs 31 woman. And I also was looking at the different things that were going on around me with other women, things that I saw that I liked, things that I saw that I didn't like. And when I say other women, I mean like even family members, my seniors, my mom, aunts and stuff. These are the things that I like. These are the things that I don't like. These are the perceptions that I have. And this is not what I don't want. And so just putting all those pressures and thoughts and beliefs on myself ended up being a lot of pressure, a lot of pressure, just wanting to do and be all the things and having to come to the realization, like you said, I need help and I cannot do all the things. Um, So yeah, like you said, looking at self first.
Yeah.
Who's putting all this pressure on you, girl?
Well, oh. I remember my husband used to say all the time, like, why are you doing that? And I'm like, well, whoa, wait a minute. Like, I'm trying to be, like you said, this virtuous wife. I'm trying to be,
Yeah,
this great businesswoman. And it's like, well, no, I didn't, I didn't ask you to do that. I don't need you to do that, honey. Stop putting all of that pressure on yourself. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And so that's definitely something that I would extend to other women. Look at the pressures that you're putting on yourself. Is this something that you absolutely need? Is this going to bring fulfillment and joy in your life? Or is the pressures that you're putting on yourself making the situation worse? You can be so much better for yourself and others if you're not putting all the extra pressures. What's necessary in your life? So, what did self care look like to help you get grounded and back in balance with you?
Fine. So honestly, there was a time where I really was not focused completely on God, and I kind of fell back from the praying and the meditating and the journaling. Um, and so, in order to get grounded again, I really had to focus on Him and what He needed from me, what my purpose was. And spending time with Him in prayer and meditation and worship and all of the things that I do with Him um, really brought me back to a place of humility. And I took care of myself by reading the Word, by praying, and all of that. I also took care of myself by, I would do a massage day. I would do, let's go out with the girls, maybe on a Saturday for brunch. Self care is all of those things. I even would go out by myself because I had to learn how to be comfortable with
Yeah.
myself and, journaling, writing things down, writing my thoughts out, and all of the emotions that a woman has and carries, it helped me to write it down. Uh, but that's how I take care of myself. That's how I got grounded again. And I had to just realize that I can still honor my own voice and be an entrepreneurial wife and still
Yeah.
honor my husband's voice as well. So I would say to an entrepreneur wife, you can do this. Like you have to still take that time out for yourself. And that is okay. That is absolutely okay. Take that
Yeah.
time out for yourself because in order to get all of the things done that we have to do right during the day, we have to first pour into ourselves and allow God to pour into us to fill us in order.
Now, Nina, you
Yes.
are active in the church as well, right?
Mm.
So, how are you integrating that, not just your prayer time at home, but how are you integrating the activities in church as well?
So definitely we have to fellowship with others. Like Um, I definitely love, love, love my church, Mason Temple Church of God in Christ. They have been a great foundation for myself, for my family, for my children. I am a choir member there. I make sure that my schedule is clear. Every Thursday night, we have to go almost every Thursday night for choir rehearsal. We make time where we have to. We're there most Sundays if we're not traveling. And the prayer times, the intercessory prayers,
Mm-hmm.
we have to make that time. That is a very important part of our life. God is a he's at the center of our lives. So
Yeah.
we're not time for that.
I was just going to say the way that you're emphasizing that, it
Mhm.
sounds like that's self care for you as well.
Absolutely. I love it.
Yeah. Now, I do have to tease you because I know you do your morning walks with
Uh-huh.
Nina.
Yes.
It's cold outside this morning. Did you do your walk with Nina?
No. So this morning I did not. It was very cold, very cold.
Yeah.
Janelle, sometimes during the winter time. Like I do struggle with going out when it's really cold. And sometimes you'll see me on occasion do a morning talk on the inside of the house. But I will let them know, like, listen, y'all, it is cold outside this morning. Your girl is gonna do this talk on the inside this moment. So yeah, sometimes it's a struggle, but I still will get out there and do it because the walking is good for me. So
Yes, absolutely.
yeah.
Now, you mentioned what your self-care looks like. How do
Mhm,
you ensure that you don't kind of fall back or
mhm.
slip back into wearing all the hats and neglecting that self-care that you need? How do you ensure that you're doing that?
So I have set times. So in the mornings, like I make sure every morning you have to get up and get this alone time. You've got to do it because it's just like when the alarm goes off for you to get up to go to work, you know that you've got to give up when you've got to go to work. So I take that time for myself in the mornings before anything is moving. Before my children gets up, my husband gets up. It is quiet in my house. That time for me is I need that. So I crave it. And so I get up in the mornings by myself and take that time. And there are days that I can plan during the week that I'll say, hey, honey, today I think I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And I may go have a massage. And sometimes we plan them together because he needs a
That's
reset
good.
too.
That's right.
So we'll plan to go do massages one day, just kind of not look at what we're doing in the business that day, but take that time out for us to kind of reset. We take the time. We have to do it. It's a
Yeah.
necessity for
Uh,
us.
so it sounds like it's a non-negotiable.
Yes, it is.
It's
It,
scheduled and you make it a non-negotiable in order
abs-
to make sure that you don't slip back into not doing those things. It's so important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What type of boundaries? If you had to name one boundary that you had to establish, whether it was for within the household, within the marriage, or even people on the outside, what are some boundaries that you guys had to establish in order to help keep things in order for business, family, marriage, all the things that were important to you?
Yeah. So, as far as our marriage goes, we do this thing on Fridays called date night. And
I
it
like
is
how you said that.
it is also a non-negotiable. So if our children, they already know Friday nights, that's mom and dad's night. We're not gonna bother them.
Hmm.
Our friends also know, okay, it's their night, their date night. We're not gonna bother them tonight. And we use that time um to really zone into each other. We use that time, we call it a marriage tune-up. So
Okay.
we take the time to hey honey, like how's your week been going? Like how have you been feeling? Um, all of the things. What can I do to support you better? What am I doing that um, may be a concern to you? We take that time to really dig into each other, right, as far as marriage goes. And that's how we stay connected. That's how we
Yeah.
learn new things about each other. What concerns, what has, encouraged them that week. Um, and for most times, everything, turns out well. Sometimes we do have concerns, but it's a great space for us to be able to open up with each other. So that is a boundary we put in place. Nobody bother us on Friday nights because it is our time. Um, and as far as business, we have learned to be partners, teamwork in business. We've learned that he has strengths, I have strengths. He has weaknesses, I have weaknesses. But we've learned to kind of team on together to be able to work through our differences, work
Hmm.
through what works and what doesn't work.
Yep.
And I, I think some of the decisions and the mindset shifts that we've made in business, it just kind of is shaping our journey. So we've learned to not step on each other's toes when it comes to the other person's weaknesses. We'll help where we can and we're understanding, with each other. Yeah.
Nina, I'm so glad I brought you on because
Yes.
26 years married, that is pure success.
Yes.
10 years in business, family owned business. You talk about date nights being a
Yes.
non-negotiable. And that is so key, absolutely key, because, business has its needs, marriage has its needs, but the marriage is first.
Yes.
You have to make that first. And
So,
for the women and even the men that are listening, I'm so glad that Nina said that, because I think that oftentimes many couples can be so tunnel vision, or even one of the partners can be so tunnel vision as it
yes.
relates to where they're trying to get to in the business, that they kind of just take for granted that the marriage is going to survive. And I know you and Kenya, y'all take advantage of couples opportunities as well, like conferences. You guys just participated in something like that, right?
Yes. We've been married for 26 years, been together for 30 years, straight out of high school sweethearts. A young girl and young boy, from Conway, from Bucksport. And God just like really was intentional about getting us together because we knew each other when we were little. Um, who knew that we would be
Really?
Yes. Lived in the same neighborhood briefly when we were younger, and we ended up he ended up chasing me in high school. So,
He got a good catch.
he got a good catch. But I caught something good too. Like he was
Yeah.
very persistent. Like he zoned into me, like, and it was just I loved it. So anyway, we have been together for a long time, and I mean, marriage is beautiful. It's definitely beautiful. It has its ups and downs. But if you're in it with the one that God, placed there for you, it's wonderful. It's
Yeah. Now, one of the things you share with me is that you wish you had known early on that being married to an entrepreneur was going to stretch your faith and your patience.
uh-huh.
So, for the woman that's listening and she is just stepping into this world of being a partner or a wife of an entrepreneur, what is something that you would tell her?
Uh, I would say marriage is definitely going to stretch your faith, and they're going to be tests. Right? So when God puts us together, there are tests for our growth,
Yeah.
for us to maybe lean more into God, for us to learn ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And when those tests come, we have to learn how to pivot, and we have to learn how to be flexible, and we have to learn how to compromise, and all of the things that we have to learn how to do in a partnership, right? So yeah, it stretches your faith. Some things that you can't see that maybe your husband can see, and you have to trust him. You have to trust God. The thing about a husband, um, prayerfully, he is leaning into God for his instruction. And you have to trust that God is leading him, right? Where to take us, where to lead this family.
Yeah.
And I had to learn that. And I struggled with that. I struggled with that because, as I said before, I'm a leader.
Yeah.
You're a leader, your husband's a leader. And it's hard to step back. It's hard to step back when you have your own opinions and your own, all the things that you want to do and
Yeah.
want to see happen. Some of the things you like, I think it'll work better this way. But sometimes you have to step back and allow him that space to do his thing. Just trust God. You're not putting all of your trust in a person, you're putting all of your trust in God. And so that's what I would say to them. If you are a woman of faith,
Yeah.
and you believe that God definitely can do all things, then trust that. Trust that.
And then community. How big is community for you and Kenya as it relates to business, as it relates to marriage? How important is that to you?
Very, very huge. We also, here's another hack. We operate a nonprofit. It's called Rivertown Wrestling, where we coach youth ages 5 to 15 in the community. It's definitely an outlet for our children to come in. It's a safe space for them. Not only wrestling, but my husband teaches life skills,
Yeah.
mentorship, just learning how to be a great citizen, learning how to be mentally tough. So there's more behind the wrestling. It's not just the sport. We use the
Yeah.
sport of wrestling for the mentorship, for the relationships with the kids, and to better our community.
Hmm.
But yes, we love community. As you mentioned before, we go to these marriage conferences and retreats with our girl and our guy, Christina
Hmm.
Troy. It's called Married for Real. Um, we love our community. We love our people. And so community is a big part of our lives, very big part of our lives.
So 26 years married,
Mhm.
30 years together. You've gone and you've worked a regular job, you've gotten your degree, you're now in a business, you have your own coaching business,
Business solutions,
Pure Business Solutions.
huh?
You have grown as a woman. When people see you, they're going to call the first thing that comes to mind when they think of Nina. As you look back on how you've grown as a woman, as a person, what is one thing that you're most proud about? Or maybe a few things that you're most proud about? Because oftentimes we don't take time to sit back and appreciate and acknowledge the growth that we have as women. What is that
Yes.
for you?
So, I would say that I am most proud of how I come from literally a young girl, um, you know, mother was, drug addict.
Mm,
Father was not there. Um, how and not realizing, at the time that God really ordered my steps, because I wasn't always in the faith.
yeah.
And if I had to look back on my life and see where, he brought me from, I would say that I'm most proud that I stayed the course, that I didn't end up like how people said I would, on drugs
Mm,
or, she's going to be just like, X, Y, and Z. And so I'm just so glad that I had the mindset to want better and to do better. And so that's what I did. I stayed the course, not realizing that it was the course that God wanted me on until later
yeah.
in life. But yeah, I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of um, the godly woman that I have become. I'm proud of um, the wife that I have become. I'm proud of the mother that I am to my children. And,
Yeah.
I just, kudos to all of the women that have come from a hard start and just kind of pivoted your way through life, and you are where you are today. So I'm proud of where God has graced me to.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I did not know that about your background.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
today in social media and things, people glamorize marriage, they
Hmm.
glamorize entrepreneurship
Hmm.
and celebrating the successes, but not recognizing the journey. And so people may look at you in Kenya and they don't even realize where you came from. You
Yeah.
guys got it out the
Yeah.
mud.
Yeah.
You put the work in. You mentioned that you weren't always into your faith. You
Hmm.
had to grow into that. And so over time, stay in the course. You got there.
I did.
And you are such an inspiration to so many people.
Thank you.
Kenya is such an inspiration to so many people. The community looks up to you guys for being such young, faith-filled, reputable company, brown,
Yeah.
beautiful brown folks
Yes.
doing well for themselves and the community. Thank you so much for what you're doing. And if there's anything else that you want to share with the women listeners or even the men listeners that are in relationship as entrepreneurs, what's something that you want to share that maybe I didn't ask you already, if anything?
Um, I would say just to all of the entrepreneurial wives, um, a little mindset shift, um, real life experiences and all of that can shape your journey. I know there's so many women that are walking through the same things that we are, you and I are.
Yeah.
And if my story can encourage someone, strengthen a relationship, or remind a wife that she's not alone, then it's worth telling. So I really want to encourage the entrepreneurial wife to just stay grounded in you.
Yeah.
So submit to your husband. You can do that at the same time. It works. And
Mhm.
trust God, you know, through everything. Um, and just be encouraged. Like we're here only for a short time. And I believe that God wants us to use that time wisely to help others, right? To serve,
Yeah.
to build others up. And so you take time also for yourself to do that self care, to build yourself up, to allow God to build you up. And I think all things will work together for your good.
That's awesome. We haven't spoken much about the coaching business that you
Uh-huh.
have.
Yes,
Please
ma'am.
share with the women. One of the things that I've recognized in some of the guests that I've interviewed so far is that many of them have desires and goals, or have also even gone ahead and started a business or some type of
Mhm.
business for themselves.
Mhm.
And you help with things like that. So please, please, please share exactly what it is that you're doing in case there's a woman out there that, or man, that wants to work with you.
Absolutely. So Pure Business Solutions is a structuring slash coaching business. I what I do is I structure businesses for people that want to become entrepreneurs. I would get all of the paperwork done for them, their EIN number. Um, I would do. I have notary services. Do all of the South Carolina Secretary of State structuring for anybody, women, men, businesses. I restructure,
Okay.
um, coach. I let people know how to do different processes and procedures in business because we do have multiple businesses. So I have a pretty good background in it. So I'm here, your business coach, to kind of help you through in your business. So that's what we're all about at Pure Business Solutions.
Love it. I love it. So,
Yes.
for those that are listening, Miss Nina and her husband, Kenya Keith,
Mhm.
are with Quick Services Heating and Air out of Conway. They are so gracious to offer a discount for those that are listening that uses the code Real Talk when you call. I am going to read the specials that they are offering as a result of this podcast. And even if you missed the deadline for the offer, definitely when you call them up, if you learned about them through this podcast, definitely let them know where you heard about them from. So for the podcast listeners, Nina and Kenya are offering a seasonal HVAC tune-up with their under their business Quick Services Heating and Air. This tune-up consists of a 21-point HVAC inspection and tune-up to keep your system running efficiently and prevent costly breakdowns. This in the year of 2025, because it might not be the same in 2026, but this is this is for a value of $180, but you can get it for only $59. So that's a huge, huge benefit. And then if you want to use that benefit, what you need to do is you'll need to call and schedule by calling 843-488-1492. And you're going to use the code REAL TALK. That's REALTALK. And then as far as her Pure Business Solutions, she is offering a free business call to you, which consists of a 30-minute one-on-one coaching session to cut through the overwhelm, identify your top strengths, and create a clear next step plan for growth. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the value of this is much more than what she said the value is. If you want to claim this offer, you're going to call 843-254-2051. And again, you're going to use the code Real Talk. Again, you guys have been hanging out in this conversation with myself, Janelle, and Miss Nina Keith on Real Talks with an Entrepreneur's Wife's podcast. Thanks again. Until next time. Bye.